Do you like stories? Well, I'm going to tell you an historic story. It's based around a man called Dr. Denis Borsos. Denis was born in Hungary under the USSR. I believe he became a doctor there, and then eventually he escaped the USSR before the curtain fell and came to Australia. He came here seeking freedom. He came here for a better life for his new family. He came with a partner, and together they ended up in a town called Colac, where they set in Victoria, and they set up a surgery just out of town, which had like a mile-long driveway outside the front of their clinic. And then they just got to work building a life. Now, because Denis had trained in the USSR, he was good at everything, from delivering babies to fixing broken legs to being an anaesthetist, and this is what had happened in the hospital, the Colac hospital. He was their go-to man. Now, a lot of Victorian hospitals now, and actually hospitals all over Australia, some of them don't even have doctors. You have to do a call-in, like a video conference, to see the doctor. Well, Denis was this hospital's go-to man. He'd be there in the middle of the night delivering babies and all manner of things. He was also very pro-vaccine and very much on the side of Big Pharma until one of his daughters suffered from a severe vax injury. And he put that down to just like bad luck. Someone has to get unlucky. I don't want to put more into his words. And he kept on giving vaccines and believing them until a second daughter also had a severe vax injury. Suddenly he had 4 children, and 2 of them were severely injured by vaccines. This changed his outlook on vaccines, and he was reluctant to give them out after that. He also noticed in town, or in the people he was watching, that if a family had a family of, say, 4 children, one of them would be on the spectrum or have some sort of vaccine injury. So he was hesitant about giving them. But then he knew at some point he would be in trouble for this, because you couldn't challenge vaccines. You could end up being suspended or worse. So he started preparing for the fact that at one point our state, our community would say, you won't follow the protocols, so we don't want you to be a doctor. That happened when COVID came. Now, he did not want to give out the COVID vaccination. He did not trust it, and he felt to be going against his Hippocratic oath, because in one thing, he couldn't give informed consent, because like everybody else in the country, he didn't know what was in it. So what he started doing was giving exemptions, and he didn't market the fact that he was going to give exemptions. It's just on one Monday, he started handing out exemptions to anybody who turned up looking for one. I think he gave out about 3. Now, these exemptions were basically, they literally could be legal, but of course you'd have to go to the High Court to fight that. But what he said was these people want 3 months thinking time to find to find the information so they can truly do informed consent decision. They want to be informed, and then they will consent once they've been informed. So it was like that. Don't quote me exactly, but that was what the exemption was. And so he started handing them out on Monday. And most of the world, and especially Australia, had never heard of this doctor. On Tuesday, a few more people heard, because the word spread from the 3 he gave get out to. On the Wednesday following, he had a mile-long queue of cars outside his practice. There's a long driveway up to his practice that was shoulder to shoulder with people wanting an exemption. That's how far the word had spread. There was police officers, nurses, councillors, and other people from politics, members of parliament, in this line, desperate to get an exemption. Because like many people, they didn't want to take this vaccination. Now, what happened after a while? The police turned up. They turned off the water to the surgery. They surrounded the surgery like he was, I don't know, selling drugs or something. And so they lined up, they wouldn't let anybody in. Then they went in, shut the surgery down, and knocked on his door. And when they knocked on his door, he came out of his surgery, found them all there waiting for him, and he said, and this is historic, "Are you here for an exemption?" And chances are they probably were. Anyway, he then got suspended. He was seen by AHPRAH, he was seen as a danger to the community, so he got an immediate suspension. This is where we heard of him. And we did a documentary with him, Dr. Oosterhuis and Dr. Hobart, who'd all literally been suspended for challenging the narrative and having questions about the COVID vaccine. Anyway, since then, what happens in Australia now is if you challenge AHPRAH, they have a thing, punishment by process. So what happens if a doctor is suspended? It should happen very quickly, a month, 2 months, 3 months, all the paperwork's done, and he or she has a judgment whether they're going to be deregistered or whether they're going to be re-educated or whatever. Now they stretch it out for years. So this has literally been almost 5 years of waiting for a final verdict, which has come through now. And the verdict is basically saying, and he agrees with it, the verdict is basically saying, let me get this right. They're saying he has shown no remorse. And he told me he's correct. I'm not remorseful for doing what I'm doing. And he's shown no interest in being re-educated or something like that. And he said, yes, he shows no interest in being re-educated. He instead now cuts trees. He's got a tree clipping business that he's done. He's going around his local area cutting trees down. How does our society, or especially the Colac community, how do they benefit by having this doctor that has been there to give birth to many of them, probably saved quite a few lives? How do they benefit by having this doctor basically cast out, shamed? How does Colac benefit? How do we benefit as a people if our doctors are not allowed to question certain medications that are being pushed down our throats? I mean, what if these are the frontline scientists, really, these GPs? Think of them also like scientists, and they're sitting there seeing these injuries come in and going, okay, something's wrong here. Shouldn't they be able to call up and go, listen, I've got 5 patients here who've been injured by this vaccine. I think we should halt it until we've had further investigation. Doesn't that make sense? It's not saying that the vaccine is the issue causing the trouble, but there is enough evidence to go, maybe we should check this out. I mean, you get a punnet of strawberries. I remember one punnet of strawberries had a pin in it, and all over Australia, they removed all the strawberries just in case someone else swallowed a pin. And yet with vaccines, we've seen so much injury, and it's just ignored. And this is when it comes, what do you want from your doctors? Do you really want a relationship with your doctor where it's just you and the doctor, and they're going to tell you the truth, whatever it is? And if you need something healthy, like just to walk or get some vitamin C or something like that, then he'll tell you, look, or she'll tell you, that's what I think you need to do with my expertise. Or they might go, I actually think you might have to try this drug just to bring your blood pressure down or something like this. We want them, nothing. Do you want anything filtering their expertise between you and them? Because at the moment now you have your doctor, you have yourself, and you've got AHPRAH sitting there with a gun at the doctor's head saying you will follow the protocols. You will tell this person not to do ivermectin or hydroxychloroquine or vitamin C or anything else that could save them. No, you won't do that. What you will do is you will sell the vaccines, because the vaccines are miraculous, and you will sell them that. And if they come back with a vaccine injury, just ignore it. Do not send us in a form that you have a query about it. Do not. And that's why the TGA only says about 14 people died of the vaccine, and they are 98% funded by Big Pharma. This man was born under tyrannical circumstances into the USSR. He escaped that for the freedom in Australia and became a great Australian. He was a true migrant success story. Our culture, our society benefited from having him here working in our community. And now, because he won't jump through AHPRAH's hoops, because he won't betray his Hippocratic oath, he's now cutting down trees, and Colac is short one incredible doctor. You are the loser in this equation. You now have doctors who might be good doctors, but they will be terrified to tell you the truth if the truth sees that they will be deregistered, meaning you no longer have informed consent. All you have sitting before you is a drug pusher who's going to try to get you to take whatever drug Big Pharma or any vaccine Big Pharma wants you to take. And the reason they will do that is not that they don't care about you, but they care about themselves and their job first. I've got a gentleman here from a regional town, and he's had he heard today about a doctor in Colac that was giving exemptions, and he needs a vaccination status to keep his job. So he went to Colac to get an exemption. And can you tell us the story from there? And let's call you Jock.
We got there at 9:30, and so when we pulled up, it was a few cars just down below the clinic, but we hadn't been there at the clinic before, so we didn't know what to expect. It felt like a mission, to be honest with you, in terms of, like a secret mission. Like what? Who's going to be there? This is like being part of the French Resistance,
Yeah.
Who we're going to see. And as we got out we got out the car, because I'm quite savvy like that, so I thought I'll do a little recce, and then I pulled up to the clinic, and the cars, all the car spaces were all taken, and I'd done my recce. There was people there in the queue, so I said to my wife at that point, I was convinced, now we're on here, because I didn't know if it was going to be a big clinic, a big formal clinic where, we also looked for the doctor in the car we also looked for the doctor whilst we were driving to the clinic.
Oh, like on a Google or something.
Yeah, make sure we can identify him, to see, because this is the guy that we want. I want to be able to see and go, no, it's him we're going for, because I didn't know how the other medical practitioners were at. You had no idea.
Yeah.
So I dropped them off, drove back down the hill, parked the car quickly, and I parked it for a good exit as well. So when I got out of the car, I can see people looking at me. I was looking at them. They already saw that I just came down from the clinic. And then it was like, have you came for the same reason? No one's saying what the reason was, but they were looking at me and laughing and giggling. And I was like, yep, we're here.
Yeah.
And it was just, you felt the community. You felt like, yes, we are all here. We've all got this in common, and we're doing this to survive. This is what it's like.
Yeah.
We're doing this to continue us to be able to put food on the table.
Yeah, and pay the mortgage and stuff.
And pay the mortgage. And, and so we got up into the crowd, and, that, because there was a queue. We got there 30 minutes early. I thought we would be waiting on the doctor, but no. The story is that the doctor got there early, and he was going to work as long as he can. We heard in the crowd that someone heard from him saying that no one's getting turned away. He's going to see every single person. And there was more people queuing, more cars pulling up. And,
so how many people do you think there was at that time? What time was this?
We got there at 9:30, and at that time, I would say that there must have been 50 people.
50 people, okay.
Yeah. And the people who were in front of us were strangers. And by 10 to 15 minutes in that queue, they were our friends.
Wow.
We were chatting to them. We were chatting to the people in front of them who at one point they were strangers. And everyone was just chatting. Everyone was just happy.
There was hope.
There was hope. There was belief. There was like, fucking hell, this doctor we actually have a doctor who's putting his career on the line and who's going to see us. So there is hope, and there is.
So did more people keep turning up?
turning up, and there was and then more and more people just turning up. But the queue was taking a long time. It was taking a long time to go down. You know, I expected that myself and my partner would return to work that day, but it was going. But to be honest here, I said to my wife, this is like in the UK when these big concert tickets go on, people queue for hours and hours, or they phone for hours and trying to get these tickets. And I said to my wife jokingly, these are like the best concert tickets in the land. And we were happy to wait. The fact that we had a doctor who was giving it out to us was like, this is unbelievable.
Yeah. So and then, what time did the police turn up?
So we got there at 9:30, and I think the cops turned up because I think that people were grassing us up. In other words, people were phoning. The neighbours, it was because the clinic was on its own in a little country road, but they always had one or two neighbours that were phoning up because they were seeing the rows of cars parked on the country road. Yeah. So I would estimate to say that the police turned up probably about 10:30, 11 o'clock.
All right.
And at that point, we started to go, oh no, is this it? And then, as I said, I saw the police car, blue and red flashing lights below on the street, and then they drove up the long hill to the clinic, and then they basically did a U-bolt and turned back. And so at that point, when it was still, everyone was still.
Oh, so they left.
Oh, they left.
Okay.
They left.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and then they were saying that the police were then stopping people. But
what you mean that they might have put a roadblock up somewhere to stop more people coming?
Well, yes, that's what they did. Eventually, they did that. Because at this point, we're seeing people coming out from who've just seen the doctor, and they were like, it's ecstatic.
Wow.
You know, we were even clapping for them because we were so happy for them.
Oh my Lord.
And you could just see they were grinning from ear to ear, and everyone was just excited. And I was saying to my friend, get here, this is the real deal, we are doing this.
Yeah.
And then, again, as I said, we waited for about 4.5 hours, and by that time we had then just reached the small reception. We were inside the building. We were inside the building for about 15 minutes, and next thing you know, the police had turned up, 2 of them, and then a third one being the sergeant. The reason I know that is, well, not only did I saw our badges of rank, but she wanted to speak to the doctor, and I want to say that when she came in, because no one had masks on, you know, no, everyone was just convinced this is a load of bullshit, you know, and so. But when they came in, everyone kind of grabbed their mask. When the police came into the reception, everyone grabbed the mask in panic of getting a fine, you know, or getting told off, or any excuse for the police to remove us from this precious opportunity that we could not believe our luck that we have found ourselves in.
Yeah.
But they weren't interested in that. They wanted to speak to the doctor. So the doctor came out. And his exact words...
Can you explain to me, what's he look like? Is he young? Is he old? What was the doctor look like?
The doctor's in his 50s. I would say in his 50s. He has got grey receding hair. He was in I remember I think he had like a whitish shirt on. He was obviously well dressed. He was working. He was doing his good work.
Yeah.
So... when he came out, we were like, wow, there he is.
Yeah.
And the first thing he said was, which was staggering to me, he said to the police officer, are you here for an exemption too? And I was just like, you beauty, brilliant. And I was just like, fucking hell, we're going to get this.
Yeah.
We are going to get this. He doesn't care. Well, he does care, but he knows I feel he feels in his heart that he's doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And so I was like, we're going to get this, you know. And my wife was across from me, so I didn't want to get up because we already felt the intimidation. When the police were in that room, you just felt the intimidation. People won't even look up. People were looking to the ground.
Yeah.
And I thought, I'll fucking look them in the eye. And I just looked them in the eye, and I text my wife at this point because, as I said, you don't want to get up.
No.
You don't want to, again, any excuse that the cop just grabs you.
Yeah.
And I just text my wife saying, look, we'll just stick together. At the end of the day, we're here to see the doctor. So this has nothing to do with them.
That's right.
And I was still thinking, we're going to do this because what can they actually say? He's a doctor and they're just police officers.
Yeah.
And I also then repeated that story because the people who were outside were anxiously waiting. So they wanted to talk to me because I came out of the reception.
Yeah.
And they wanted to speak to me right away to say what was going on in there and what's being said.
Yeah.
And I repeated that story of what the doctor, because I feel it's my duty. Like I'll chat, I will inform people if I can to help them. Because you had people there, mothers with babies. You had people there who were pregnant. You know, you had kids out there. You had fathers. You had
So there's all families and everything.
Everything. And all different professions. Some of them you were showing. Some were in the trade. Some were mechanics. Some were, I believe, police officers.
Oh my
believe
God.
police officers. And I also believe the girl that we were talking to in front of us, she was saying, in this queue of people, there is people from the government.
Wow.
That's what she was saying. So she knows them.
Wow.
So, as I was saying, so I told people in the queue, because as I said, I came out the reception, so I told people in the queue what had just happened, and that was that the doctor came out and said,
So
are you here?
So he'd come in, and now he was in. So what happened then when they, what happened when they finally came out?
Oh, well, when they finally came out, the doctor came out with them, and I hoped that he was just showing them away, you know, saying goodbye. But unfortunately, the doctor came out and said, I'm sorry, people, I've tried all I can do now. That's what he said. This is it. This is the end. And we were just, at that point, we were just gutted. We were in we were gutted. Then he came outside to see all the people, the big line of people, and he went up to them. And he was Polish, or I think he was Polish. He was Eastern European, you know.
Yeah.
And I actually thought to myself, Michael, I thought, because you've mentioned this in your previous podcasts, that it's a lot of the Europeans that are standing up.
Yeah.
And when I heard that he was Polish, I thought to myself, and no disrespect to any Australians whatsoever, but because what you had previously said, I thought to myself, is this what it takes? People that have seen this type of victimization before, and this tyranny.
Yeah.
Is this what it takes for these people to go, nah, we've seen this before and we're not having it?
Yeah.
And so, as I said, he went up to the different people in the crowd to say, look, I've given everything I can, basically. And at that point, the police formed a line directly outside the clinic.
Really? How many?
Yeah. Oh, there must have been 10.
10.
There must have been 10 because more people turned up at that. More police officers turned up.
Yeah.
And, I mean, what were we going to do? Well, we're just going to, burst into his clinic. The kind doctor obviously already said, there is nothing that I can do anymore.
Yeah. How was he? Was he upset? Was he shaken? Or did he just look...
No, he wasn't shaken at all. That's what I was looking for when the police, when he came out the first time. He wasn't shaken, and in actual fact, I don't know if the police had already been there another day.
Yeah.
But no, he seemed fine.
But how was the crowd then? with the police.
Oh, then the crowd was emotional. I saw people cry. There was people in tears. There was people who then started shouting abuse at the police. And I mean, not nasty abuse, but just saying, shame on you, which I felt was justified. And, I even said to the police officer, how can you sleep at night? This is our body, I said to him. This is our body and this is our choice.
And what did they say?
They were straight-faced. They didn't say anything. And to be honest with you, I didn't know. I know that lovely police officer stepped down the other day. And I heard what she had to say. A lot of the officers are with us,
Yeah.
So I didn't know that was going through my mind as well,
Yeah.
They were with us. Maybe they were just following orders. But at the end of the day, I said to the officer, "What about your children too, mate?
Yeah.
It's about time. I feel more police need to step down and stand up with us." But honestly,
And I just want to go there. I just want to go there. How did we reach here? Where the view looks like the view I used to see. But somehow everything has changed. Everything is gone, and yet remains.